Dear comrades, receive warm greetings from Communists of Catalonia. We want to congratulate you for this great initiative. In these days of change of international relations paradigm, the collapse of international liberal order, it is important for us Marxists to analyze it. Last year, we made this analysis. The massive sanctions that were supposed to collapse the Russian economy and force the Kremlin into a negotiation that put an end to the war have not worked. First, they have only been applied by those countries that call themselves international community, but they actually make up 1/5 of the world population, that we simplify as Western. Likewise, the facts reinforce the idea that Russia has decided to disconnect from the West and to look to Asia as the center of a new multipolar world order. Within the Western Bloc, there is a complete subordination to the interest of the US imperialism. We can see a complete lack of the EU's own foreign policy, which is taking measures clearly against the interests of the European population. Imperialism is willing to do whatever it takes to remain in power, and it will make his allies pay the cost before them. This last idea has been clearly reinforced with the blowing up of the Nord Stream 1 and 2 gas pipelines by the US, as all the evidences shows to us, and the reaction from Europe has been disappointing to say the least. Faced with a direct attack against its strategic infrastructures by a supposed ally, its reaction has been to deny it and even absurdly blaming Russia. Imperialism is receding in most regions of our planet, with some notable exceptions, such as Georgia. The recent normalization of relations between Saudi Arabia and Iran, sponsored by China, have brought peace closer to Yemen. In the month of April of this year, a rapprochement summit between the Venezuelan government and the opposition has held. Something totally unthinkable a few years ago with the Uribist government, a truly destabilizing agent of the continent. In West Africa, we also see how France's positions are gradually diminishing, and the new multipolar order gives these peoples little hope of change. From Communists of Catalonia, we also see the rise of BRICS very interesting, and how people are beginning to talk about using currencies other than dollar for international trade. On the other hand, we see how Israel continues with its process of apartheid and genocide against the Palestinian population, while its own society is heading more and more clearly towards fascism, with the controversial new judicial reform. So, in summary, we see that when imperialism recedes, new paths are opened for the peoples of the world. Given this, we'll have to see the reaction of the US, how violent it will be and how its opposition to these global changes will be. Faced with this situation, Communists of Catalonia will reaffirm our commitment to peace and anti-militarism. A peace understood not only as the absence of war, but as a respect and solidarity between peoples, internationalism, and the search for justice and development for the whole of the humanity. We communists, we must work in this field as a priority and link it to climate collapse, since they are closely related. Capitalism cannot offer an answer to the collapse that is generating, other than worsening of the living conditions of the vast majority of humanity to maintain those of a very, very small minority. The international liberal order will try to prevent it by relying once again on fascism, as we have already seen in the case of Italy. In Catalonia, to achieve the right to self-determination effective, a constituent process is needed, a shared struggle for the conquest of rights and the construction of a republic. On this path, it is necessary, obviously, to overcome the actual power structures of the deep Spanish state. The articulation of a common front of the sovereignties left will eventually happen, one way or another, because it is necessary for the country and for the working class. If we are not able to build it now, a left-wing and sovereignties majority that also has an expression in the Parliament of Catalonia, it will happen later, directly to the government of Junts and PSC, the Catalan National Conservative and the Social Liberal parties. It is also necessary to build a solid organization rooted in class, which responds to the material, cultural and political needs of workers. It is necessary to criticize the limits of institutional politics, just as the lack of revolutionary perspectives has shown that is a dead end for the world working class. Even so, it is important not to fall into dogmatism or leftism, isolating oneself from the working class as a whole. Revolutionary politics is something far away from confronting transformative movements such as environmentalism or feminism, or from denying the importance of the national question as something decisive for the working class, at least in our country. There are no magical recipes, nor are we inventing anything new. We must vindicate the Communist Party as an essential tool for the working class. The party, understood as a form of organization of our political culture, with our structures and instruments, and with our method of work, debate and cohesion, and intervention on the fronts.